SpaceX Starship IFT-11 just redefined spaceflight. Let's get into it. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much once again joining me for tea time. Today we're coming to the end of some fireside. I hope you're joining me with your cup of tea, maybe a cup of coffee, hanging out as we talk about space, SpaceX, Starlink, of course some Linux and AI. Today we're going to be talking about the Starship. This was really big, guys, really big. We covered it live yesterday. There was just about 1,000 of you online, which was great. We had a great turnout. It was wonderful. You guys were so excited to see this thing go off, and I was too. This was a really monumental event because we moved from Block 2, now we're going straight into Block 3. That was the absolute last flight, test flight of Block 2. So there's a lot of changes that are being made. I want to go through a couple of articles that people wrote about it. Obviously, we experienced it together. I'll give you my commentary at the end, as I always do, but I want to give you some of the information as they wrote it this morning, all right? Because once again, it is a really big deal, guys. It's a really big deal because we're now finally moving forward into Block 3. A lot of folks over there at SpaceX is saying, thank God we're finally there. They just wanted to be done with Block 2 because there were so many problems. If you guys remember, IFT-7 blew up, IFT-8 blew up, and then of course IFT-9 blew up too, all within about 6 to 8 minutes of flight. So IFT-10 was perfect, pretty close too, and IFT-11 was even better. That was yesterday's flight, and we're going to get into that and what it means. Once again, like I said, this is something that is redefining space flight. Things are going to change, and they're going to change dramatically, and other countries are going to look at this and say, how are we going to match this? And the answer is they're not for quite some time, and that's what we're going to get into today. Anyways, before we get into it, I want to say that if you enjoy the content, as always, throw the video a thumbs up. If you don't like it, throw it a thumbs down. For some reason, Google likes it either which way. YouTube, I don't know what it is, but they don't care if it's a thumbs up, thumbs down, as long as you guys recognize that we actually are doing something here. It is what it is. Anyways, also, if you want to just give back to the channel, there's a little thanks button over there. Click on that, give $1 or $2 if you like. If not, it's perfectly fine. The video is still free. Consider becoming a member of the channel. That would be even better. And if you want more SpaceX Starlink specific content, I put together just about 600 videos just for you. 600, man, that's a lot. Yeah, in the last about 54 months, 600 videos. I'll put a link here. Don't click on it yet. When you're done watching this video, click over here, take a look at them, see what you like. Because there's a lot of great helpful how-tos, tips, tricks, what to do, what not to do, what to buy, what not to buy, and of course the why behind all of it on SpaceX Starlink. And if you're not subscribed, consider doing so. If you are, thank you. I appreciate that. Click this little notification button over here so when I go live, when a new video comes out, you will be notified of it immediately. That's at least what YouTube says. They never do it, but let's just make believe they do. Click it anyways, and then click all. That would be helpful. Finally, I want to hear from you. I'm just a talking head here. Down below, that's where all the magic happens. You guys, down here, put something. What do you think about all this? Where do you think it's going? What do you think about Elon Musk and SpaceX Starlink and the Starship and everything else down here? Are you a Starlink user? If so, what kind of speeds are you getting? Where are you located? What are you using? Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen 3, are you using a mini? What are you using? Down here, put something. And if you're shy, you don't want to put anything in comments, all right, put an emoji, put a poop emoji or a starship or something. That'd be awesome. Anyways, let's jump right into this article. It starts out by saying Starship IFT-11, the turning point. SpaceX Starship has finally done it again. And this time it looks almost routine, but make no mistake, IFT-11 was anything but ordinary. It marks a massive leap in precision, control, and data gathering for what could soon be the world's first fully reusable orbital launch system. The launch from Pad A. Launching from Pad A at Starbase, the mission reused Booster 15-2, a super heavy stage that previously flew on IFT-8, the first sign that SpaceX's reused dream is no longer theory. Liftoff looks smoother than ever, and the booster's 33 Raptor engines fired cleanly, pushing Ship 38 into the sky for the very last integrated test flight of Block 2. Moments later, hot staging once again stole the show, with Starship separating mid-burn in a controlled plume of fire that could only come from SpaceX. A perfect booster return. The booster executed its flip, boost back, and landing burns flawlessly, softly splashing down in the Gulf of America. Every burn hit its mark, tighter, cleaner, and far more consistent than any previous super heavy attempt. This wasn't luck, it was refinement. Each booster recovery attempt now feeds SpaceX's plan for true reusability at orbital scale. Gentler re-entry or smarter engineering. Now for the real magic, Ship 38's re-entry. Viewers notice something different, less violent plasma, fewer sparks, and a smoother flight profile. Gentler? Yes, but not by accident. SpaceX actually removed certain heat shield tiles on purpose, testing how the underlying structure handled exposure. Combined with a dynamic banking maneuver, Starship managed to re-enter like an aircraft, adjusting its angle of attack to spread out the heat load instead of taking it all head on. This isn't a weaker test, it's a smarter one. Starship didn't just survive, it collected vital thermal data that engineers will use to fine-tune Block 3's flight profile and materials. Very, very important. The data-driven path to Block 3. Every second of Test Flight 11 pushes SpaceX closer to a fully reusable system. Block 3 vehicles will likely feature lighter thermal protection, improved Raptor thrust vectoring, and possibly an even shallower re-entry corridor. All designed from lessons gathered during IFT-11's controlled chaos. Elon Musk hinted that the ultimate goal was to land both booster and ship in one coordinated flight before the end of 2025. After seeing IFT-11, that no longer sounds crazy. That's absolutely the case. This was, I think, out of all of the test flights that I've seen, and I've seen every single one, and I've covered a lot of them, this one was thought to be more dramatic, but ended up being less dramatic, in my personal opinion. I thought that we were going to see flames. I thought that there was going to be a RUD at the end where the ship just blew up, either the ship or the Super Heavy from being pushed so hard. And instead, everything just worked smoothly. Almost like everything was supposed to go this way. And that was it. It was just smooth and almost effortless. Very strange. There wasn't sparks pouring off the thing. The plasma that was coming off it didn't eat through or erode through or burn through the flaps. Everything was intact. There was a couple of the, let's say, shielding, those plates, dinner-sized plates, ceramic tiles that fell off. They probably were held on very, very lightly, loosely, so that they would fall off, so they can test different materials, what holds on better. There's so many things that they did on this flight that just were a really big deal. So moving forward, remember, we are now out of Block 2. Once again, I really do think that SpaceX is very happy about this, but now we're in Block 3. This is a whole new ballgame. That is not only a new Super Heavy, a new Starship, but also the pad is going to be retrofitted. It's going to change. So everything is going to be new with this new Block 3. And in my personal opinion, I think this is awesome because now we're moving into a period of time where things are no longer going to be, can we get into outer space, but what can we do there? And I think the movement now is going to be in refueling. We've already seen them do now twice the Pez dispenser, where they open up the bay door and they launch out the, let's call them version 3 SpaceX Starlink satellite duds, right? And it worked perfectly. As a matter of fact, yesterday's test flight, Flight 11, worked even better than Flight 10. Flight 10s, as it was launching out those satellites, there was a little bit of hiccups here and there, was a little vibration. I knew at the time, I said, listen, they're going to change that. They're going to refine it. They're going to fix it a little bit. And that's exactly what happened this time. Everything came out smoothly. It was no problem at all. The door opened up without a problem. It closed without a problem. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. So like with IFT-10, they figured out pressurization, how they have to reduce pressure so that they can open the door and then close it and then bring pressure back up. So everything, once again, worked out smoothly. They pulled it off. So the other thing that I thought was really amazing here was the TPS system. I told you guys with IFT-7, 8, and 9, the TPS team, which is the thermal protection system team, the people that come up with the tiles, the underlayment, what happens with the thermals, right? Remember, you're talking about thousands upon thousands of degree Fahrenheit plasma pouring off the bottom of the ship as it's re-entering. So thermal protection system team are mathematical wizards and chemical wizards too, because remember, things have to be chemically fit to be able to handle that type of heat. Those tiles being ceramic is one thing, but remember, there is underlayments underneath it. They also tested out crunch wrap, almost like Taco Bell or something. Te quiero Taco Bell. And matter of fact, one of the guys said something like Viva the ship or something like what you would hear on Taco Bell's commercial. But at any rate, this is really impressive because remember, that underlayment did well because they left tiles out completely so that the underlayment was exposed. Also, the crunch wrap did well too because once again, we didn't see as much kind of burn through, especially when it comes to those flaps. Normally, we would see the flaps get this burn through. We would see some of the metallic covering, which is stainless steel, just start melting off it. And that's all you would see is the skeletal structure inside of the flap. You didn't see that this time at all. There was no burn through. Absolutely none. The only burn through that I saw, let's say a hot spot that I saw, was on one of the catch pins. We saw it glowing red. Now, did it actually burn through, or was that glowing red the tiles glowing? That I don't know, but that's some of the things that they will look at in the tapes, so to speak, when they rewind and see exactly what ended up happening. So the other thing that was amazing is a lot of folks were saying, you know, wow, there's not a lot of plasma pouring off it. Where's this heat buildup? Where is the dramatics here, right, on reentry? And there was much less. Now, number one, that is probably because the TPS system was better and the folks had either better tiles, the tiles done better, that underlayment better, the crunch wrap better, something. Also, one of the things I did see was the wraparound on those flaps was further. They wrapped the tiles around the edge of those flaps a lot further. I think that helped a lot also. But the big thing here that wasn't discussed during the show, so to speak, was that dynamic banking maneuver that it did. They talked about it making this loop, but no one knew what the hell, what loop? What loop? Basically what they did is instead of having the ship come in and just fall like a rock, they had it come in more like a hypersonic aircraft. So it came in, and to bleed off speed, it did like a banking maneuver, right? Almost like a loop, a banking maneuver to slow it down and then come in for a landing. Exactly, once again, what you would see a hypersonic aircraft do. So it acted more like a hypersonic aircraft than it did a rocket ship. Very cool. See, this is the type of stuff that they come up with that you don't see anyone else doing, right? That's what makes them so special. That's why we see Falcon 9s reuse over and over and over again. Some folks are like, well, how are they going to be able to reuse Super Heavy over and over again? We see they have those 33 Raptor engines. The thing is just glowing. It's just like, how is it possible? Well, the same way holds true with the Falcon 9 rockets. They did it. Some of the Falcon 9 rockets, matter of fact, booster 1067. I remember this was in August of 2025, months back. It actually flew 30 times. What does that mean? That means it was launched, It put SpaceX Starlinks on orbit, came back down, landed on the back of the drone ship in the middle of the ocean, was ferried back to land, refurbished, and launched again. And launched again. And launched again. 30 times the one booster. 30. That just gives you an idea on how they have just figured this out. Figured it out, guys. That's why no one else could match them. Just think about the cost savings of not dropping one of those boosters into the drink and then having to build another one for millions and millions and millions of dollars. Just think about using it 30 times. What a cost savings. How much does it cost to put those SpaceX Starlink satellites on orbit on use 30? Right? How many millions and tens of millions of dollars saved? Right? And that's exactly what holds true here with the Super Heavy. That's what they're trying to do. So there is a lot going on here that I think was just amazing, all right? That really pushes this to the next stage of things. And like I said, the next stage is going to be refueling on orbit, because moving forward to get to the moon or to get to Mars, you need to refuel on orbit, meaning you will have a SpaceX Starship on orbit like this, another SpaceX Starship will come above it, and they will latch together. Matter of fact, that's one of the things with the Block 3. The Block 3 will have the plumbing, right, the fuel transfer system, so that they can connect and transfer fuel between the two. That Starship that will be, let's say, a gas station will probably be empty. It won't have much of anything in there. No payload, no nothing. Its payload will be tanks of fuel, right? And that's it. So this is really going to change everything, because once you take a couple of ships up there and you refuel this to its max, what this means is SpaceX can take that full ship that's sitting on orbit, the gas tank, let's call it, the gas station, pull another Starship on top of it, refuel it, and then send it off to the moon or Mars. That is where we're going with this. So once again, Block 3 is not about, can we get to space? Block 3 is about, can we refuel in space? That is where it's at. And then, of course, you always have to take into consideration the TPS system. The thermal protection system, folks, those engineers are the ones that are going to constantly make the thermal protection better and better and better. And just by seeing that, just dynamic maneuver, once again, like a hypersonic plane alone, scrubbed off so much speed, that was just amazing. And I think that they're going to continue to do maneuvers like that. There's no reason why not to, right? Because they can. There's going to be some changes. Once again, the fins, those fins that take that Super Heavy back down, there's 4 of those grid fins currently with the Block 2. On the Block 3, there's going to be 3. And they're going to take the catch pins and integrate them into those 3 positions, those 3 fins, which is cool. Once again, less is more. You want to have less things that you possibly can have to refurbish. That is the end goal, right? You want reusability. Reusability is all about going up and down, just like that August launch of, 1067, that ended up taking the Falcon 9 up there for the 30th time before it was retired. That is just nuts. Absolutely crazy, right? So the same thing is going to hold true here with the Super Heavy. So things are looking up. This is definitely going to give NASA a little twinkle in their eye and say, you know what, maybe we're going to be able to do Artemis after all on time and not be late with it. I wouldn't doubt it, because this is, once again, really that big. Anyways, what do you think about all this? Were you excited about it? Did you see things that happened that you weren't prepared for, like I did? The banking maneuver, like a hypersonic aircraft compared to a rocket falling from space like a rock? How about the plasma not burning through everywhere? How about those little Pez dispenser launches, right? Nice and smooth. They worked perfectly, flawlessly. Everything was so smooth, oddly smooth, I would have to say. Happily, I'm sure, for SpaceX guys over there. So anyways, down below, I want to hear from you. What do you think about all this? And if you have a SpaceX Starlink, let me know down here. What kind of speeds are you getting? Where are you located? Put Put them down here. And as I said before, if you want to take a look at those about 600 videos I put together about SpaceX, Starlink, I put that link back there. You can click on it now. Not before, but now is okay. Anyways, guys, if you haven't went over to my website, check it out. Check out my merch. Go to JCristina.com/shop. Once again, JCristina.com/shop. If there's something there you like, please pick it up and help support me and my family. Many blessings to you and your family. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay connected, hopefully through SpaceX Starlink, and we'll see you in the next one. Love you guys.